What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here at Churchkey with two of my favorite people, Greg and Erik from NRG. I guess it'd be hard to pin you down to one location. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for letting us be here. We're really excited about this.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. I know you guys got a busy day, so we'll keep it quick for you. But we wanted to pop in and talk about Snallygaster this week. Super excited about that. I know you guys are probably slammed getting ready for that action, huh?
It's all we're thinking about.
Well, I can only imagine. It's grown. It's like almost doubled in size this year. Is that about right?
Since we started in 2012, I think that's about right. I think we had about, 4,000 people 2012?
Yeah. And now we'll be well over 10,000.
That's super exciting.
And the beer list, I don't even remember how big it was, but this 150. This year it's over 400.
That's crazy.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it is. And the list too this year is like, it's far more varied and kind of rare, esoteric. I mean, all of the increases seem to come from us finding new breweries we can't normally get beer from and convincing them to send us special product just for the festival.
Just for the festival,
yeah. Cool.
A lot of beers are like debuted at the festival as well too. Is that correct?
Yeah, and brewers too. I mean, like
right?
I just poured this beer for us from Suarez Family Brewers. These guys are an amazing husband and wife team up in the Hudson Valley of New York. And I literally my wife and I just went up there on Saturday, 2 days ago, and picked up some beer for Snallygaster from this little brewery. So yeah, I mean, they're tiny. They produce like 2,000 barrels a year, which is like less than we make at Blue Jacket.
Oh wow!
And they just kind of share it with friends, and so yeah, we just threw a bunch of kegs in our station wagon and
that's awesome.
Brought it back.
How many barrels a year does Blue Jacket brew?
2,400.
Wow.
Which is a lot, especially because like 90% of that is sold on site. Because in large part because of baseball, in that stadium, but also people just
come there
dig our
that.
beer. Yeah, they like our beer.
Right on. So this is the
100 feet north from Suarez Family Brewers. It's a blend of a bunch of oak barrel aged mixed fermentation beers.
Whoa.
Light, refreshing.
That's nice.
Only just over 4% alcohol. Clean and crisp with a little bit of funk to it. It's a farmhouse ale. They're known for doing that. They're also known for making pilsners, and I'm pretty psyched we'll have Palatine Pils, one of their kind of flagship beers, on draft at Snallygaster.
Right on.
Which is cool. So
that's awesome. It's a really nice beer. I'm not a big beer drinker, but I always drink beer when I come here or any of your bars because it's an experience.
This kind of beer is super singular though too. I mean, for someone who doesn't maybe have a lot of experience with tart or sour beer, this is
it's really nice.
Really drinkable.
It almost tastes like a combination between like a beer and a cider to me.
That's right.
But
yeah, totally. The acidity is there. It's light, bright, clean. Really just great outdoor weather, easy drinking country beer.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm all about that. What else we got on deck?
Let's see here. Well, everybody drinks IPAs today and loves them. We do too, and we have this beer from Single Cut up in Queens, New York. So New York City is booming with craft brewers. We're going to have a bunch of them at Snallygaster, so Single Cut will be there pouring some of their great IPAs. We'll have some IPAs from Other Half out of Brooklyn. They make fantastic stuff. So this is Softly Spoken Magic Spells. It's a double IPA. Thank you. From Single Cut in Queens. And the cool thing about this beer is, like, as with a lot of IPAs these days, it's all about the aroma and very little about the bitterness on the palate. So, for the longest time when people had issues with IPAs, it was really the bitterness that they couldn't, get used to. Because hoppy beers do provide a lot of bitterness. But a lot of these IPAs have been retooled recently to back end the hops and to focus on pronouncing the aromas and kind of taming the taste. So when we smell this beer, it's got huge tropical fruit.
Ooh, that smells so nice.
A lot of the green herbaceous qualities you normally find from hops have been kept in check, and that's by the yeast that they're using. It kind of guides the hops to be a little bit more juicy, and then on the palate, it's just like juice rather than like bitter, hoppy IPA.
I find this actually has more bitterness than even some of the more, I mean, a lot of like the Vale stuff, or like the super double dry hop stuff. Like this actually has some
bitterness, but it's not like Sierra Nevada IPAs or Stone IPAs, and it's kind of somewhere between the old school dry, piney bitterness, and then the new school stuff that's barely bitter at all. But a lot cleaner and more like approachable.
That's really nice because I don't like IPAs or hoppy beers at all. It makes me make ugly faces when I drink it, like a child with a lemon.
Keystone,
but this is nice. Face. It actually makes me appreciate the bitterness.
This is a cool. It's a cool way that this is going, and Erik mentioned the Vale. They're really good friends of ours from Richmond. They make very small amounts of beer, and it's really coveted. So when they send beer outside of the Vale north, it always comes to us here because they're really good friends. So they're sending a bunch of really cool beers for Snallygaster as well.
And this is out of New York?
This is single cut for Queens, yeah.
So you're bringing beers in from all over the world for Snallygaster, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, like anything, now that American beer is so incredible, like, clearly the focus is mostly on American stuff, just because if there's all this great stuff here, we want to concentrate on it. I mean, there's nearly 6,000 breweries in the U.S. today. So there's, and a lot of them are making like fantastic stuff. Now, to that end, though, we are focusing on some fantastic Belgian style beers. Belgium, we're sourcing from Belgium, great things from Germany, and taking pains to make sure that we include the brewers that kind of inspired a lot of American craft beer in the conversation. But there's still a ton of American stuff. But we're getting stuff from all over America. Like Hill Farmstead up in Vermont, they sent us stuff. Obviously things from the local scene. Wakefield down in Miami sent us some beer. It's pretty wide variety.
To the Europe point, though, I mean, you've always featured the Franconian lagers in Gravity Cast that we get direct from producer.
Yeah, it's not just not American IPAs. Yeah, we have a lot of great lagers, unfiltered lagers, like Erik was saying, from Germany. Great lambic from Belgium. A lot of Belgian style beers, things like that. So
now, a lot of these beers you also carry in your various restaurants, though, as well, right? Man, you have a great job. You just you're more knowledgeable about beer than anyone I've ever even heard of.
It's I mean, it is literally it truly is the best job. I can't argue with that. It's fun, and the cool thing for me now is like we have so many places that we have just so many different kinds of lists. Like Churchkey has everything, 555 beers from all over the world. But then you go to Sovereign in Georgetown, and it's a huge beer list focused solely on Belgium and the best brewers in Belgium.
Yeah.
You go to the Partisan over in Penn Quarter, and we have like this huge sour beer list because that goes so well with the charcuterie that Nate makes, Anda, our butcher and chef over there. Even someplace like Iron Gate, right around the corner from us, has a really small focus list. That's phenomenal. A lot of great Mid-Atlantic beers on that list, a lot of great Mediterranean beers. So I find actually it's almost more exciting for me now when people go into the places that aren't as known for beer, and they're like, whoa, this is cool. Because they kind of expect it from Churchkey. But if you roll into Hazel and you have like a killer beer list, you're going to be like, oh, it's almost more impressive in some ways.
And that's cool to definitely like curate different lists for different places and get to really like hone in on that. Yeah,
and now the other thing is like we bring in so much beer direct to our group. Like we work with our friends like Suarez, or like this beer I'm about to pour from KC Brewing and Blending in Glenwood, Colorado. It's like, I guess, west of Denver. Little tiny place. They make very little amounts of beer, but they send us a bunch of beer sometimes direct to Churchkey, and then we'll break it off and like send a little bit to Eat Bar and a little bit to Partisan and a little bit to Sovereign, and so that's been a really fun thing as well. So you see beers you won't find anywhere but at neighborhood restaurant group places a lot in DC.
That's super cool. So let me ask you about all these different glasses. Is there a reason to put different beers in different oh my god, look how pretty that is.
Oh, totally. Different glasses, different temperatures are going to encourage and accentuate aromas and flavors. So
shit over here.
That's the same reason why we always like swirl our beer. There's lots of great aromatic possibilities in beer. They come up, they float to the top with the CO2. They get stuck in the head, and then as the head dissipates, the aromas pop out. So we want something that's going to we don't really want to fill our glasses all the way because then you wouldn't be able to smell the beer
Right.
and swirl it. And 99.9% of taste is smell. If you plug your nose and drink this beer, you're going to just taste like sweet, salty, sour, bitter. That's it. But it's the nose that actually is where you find all of like the nuances and the subtleties of aromatic flavors. Yeah, and so this one.
And interesting about the tumbler is actually designed to keep your hand from touching too much of the glass and warming the beer
To warm
too
it
much.
up. Ah, that's so cool. I never.
So it's
And it's just cool. Like
never
it's like a
thought about
rustic,
that.
old school glass.
Yeah, no, I like it.
So this beer is, like I said, it's from Colorado. Our friend Troy Casey. He's been brewing and blending since 13, I think. And this is kind of like the Suarez beer at its base. It's a mixed fermentation farmhouse ale aged in oak barrels. And then they create a master blend and then further mature it on different fruits. That's why the name of the kind of the generic name for the series is Fruit Stand. But this particular Fruit Stand iteration is aged on Cabernet Franc grapes. And that's where it picks up
It's
the
beautiful.
color, the complex acidity. It's like it's lactic, it's malic, it's tartaric. Really great red winey aromas. But the point with the Fruit Stand beers is to maintain balance. So it still has like the earthy saison character with the fruit character. It's not like just Cabernet Franc.
Well, you actually get a grape character to it.
Yeah,
like
on the palate,
in the front of
too.
the palate, yeah.
It's really nice. It's really nice. It reminds me of like a lambic, but like without all the sugar.
Well, right. Well, lambics too. That's the great thing is that we don't nowadays. In the old days, remember, like if you went to like the Reef or something, they would have
Yeah.
Lindemann's Framboise on tap.
Oh yeah, we had the sunset.
So with Allagash White.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But because back then, like nobody wanted real lambic. That's like real lambic at its base is bone dry. It's tart. It's funky. It's earthy. But because people were into sour beer back then and in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and 80s, these Belgian producers were adding sugar and fruit
Right.
to make it taste like sweet fruit juice, like the Framboise used to taste.
Exactly.
The cool thing now is that everybody's kind of evolved further to want that dry,
something more.
that complexity. And so now a lot of great lambic is coming out that is not sweetened or fruited. And the Americans have also been inspired to make lambic-esque beers, many of which are aged on fruits.
So is that kind of what this would be, a lambic?
Kind of, but
beer?
it's not spontaneously fermented. So with lambic, all of the fermentation happens from the air.
Right.
Because there's like yeast and bacteria swimming around us at all times.
Right. Well, that's weird.
I was
I've
waiting
seen
for
it one or a few
how
times
long
in
am I
my
going to go on before you stop me? But not that kind of yeast. But so the thing is though is like if you leave your wine open overnight, like forget to cork it,
Yeah.
you drink half a bottle and you forget to cork it, the next day it tastes like vinegar.
Yeah.
That's because there's bacteria in the air that jumps in and turns it into vinegar. So same thing with can happen with beer. If you leave a sugary water source outside, it will naturally ferment in the right conditions.
right.
So lambic has always taken advantage of those conditions and spontaneously fermented. What you see more times now in American brewing, although there is some spontaneous stuff going on, is a lot of this is you actually pitch different yeasts and bacteria into the tanks or the barrels
Right.
for a little bit more control.
Right.
And you end up achieving flavors that are akin to lambic, but some would argue maybe not quite as complex, but they're definitely still in that kind of wild sour category.
Right on. One time, me and my roommate found a bottle of wine that was like half open on top of our refrigerator, and it had been there for like 3.5 months. And we drank it, and it was like the best wine I've ever had in my life.
Right? How old are you?
Another bottle up there, and left it
Were you,
open
like,
for like 2 weeks,
15?
and it wasn't this. No, it was like 6 years ago.
Dude, one time I met last weekend.
Yesterday.
Well, it's funny. We like put another bottle up there and left it open, and drank it 2 weeks later. It wasn't nearly as good. We're like,
But what did it taste like? Vinegar?
honestly, it tasted great. Like me and him joke about that to this day. Like how he drank. Like
We found that
no,
wine.
it was so bad. It was so bad.
Well, yeah, that sometimes.
I mean, it was
yeah.
so good, but it was like this shouldn't be normal. But we didn't hallucinate or
No,
anything.
you got lucky,
know?
I think, and
Yeah.
and you didn't get sick, which is also good.
I know, it was amazing. We literally tried to
alcohol in
recreate
there.
it, but it didn't work out.
That's cool.
Followed it with some Jameson.
That's right.
Which kind of killed off anything that might have hurt you.
That's right. That's why I kind of giggled when you're like, "Oh, you'll just taste these 7 things," and I'm like, "Man, you are giving my palate way too much credit." I'm like red, yellow, like it doesn't go much
Well,
further.
we'll have
than
all of these colors at Snallygaster too.
that. I'm gonna try every color this weekend. Right on. Well, thank you so much for taking time
thank you,
to hip us to the beers. I'm really excited to be a part of Snallygaster again, and I know
Thanks for being with us.
Nerds on your list, you have a searchable, filterable spreadsheet now with all 400 beers.
Jesus.
That you can actually filter down to figure out where they're going to be and what you want to drink. So
crazy.
Yeah, it's cool.
Crazy,
Very cool.
crazy.
And we have as of Wednesday, we'll have this app available.
Holy shit.
We've done that the last couple of years, so you'll be able to not just see all the beers in real time, like what they are, but you can see where they are, like if it's in this like zone. All the different zones are named after monsters, and it's just easier to find the different things that you want.
You guys are so good at all that stuff, man. I'm always impressed, man. Every year you guys get better and better and better. And you started off better than most, so that's... I mean, I'm serious. You guys go to other people's events?
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. We try.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's top notch every time. So I'm excited for this weekend.
Me too, man.
Cool.
I'm excited for Sunday.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, seriously.
I heard that. Well, thank you very much, and I'm gonna enjoy sipping on these beers while we talk a little bit more about Snallygaster. We're gonna talk about Arcadia, Snallygaster, all that good stuff. So, Eric, you want to jump in a little closer to the mic?
Sure. Grab back to his
I don't know if they can hear you too far from the mic, but
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mom.
thank you
Thanks,
very
Greg.
much. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna share some of the beer with the crew.
We got more beers where that came from, too.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all get some before you leave.
Word.
So Arcadia, Snallygaster. So Snallygaster, for a little bit of history,
Yes.
grew out of an event we were doing in Virginia at Rustico, at the Alexandria
right?
Rustico in the parking lot back there, and we called it Octo Beer Fest because we're so good at naming things. It's
Super
where we
creative.
hold Novemberfest now.
Killing it.
But so, anyways, we had it for I think 5 years up until 2011. In 2011, after that event, we had 5,000 people in a tiny parking lot. And Alexandria City government asked us to kindly never do that again. And so we were like, "That's cool. We're gonna continue doing
Loud and
business,
clear.
but
Yeah.
we're gonna hitch up the road to the city and find a bigger space."
Right on.
So that was the same time. So 2010, Michael Babin, our founder and kind of CEO and inspiration in general,
Right.
Founded Arcadia. So as a nonprofit, he was very committed to founding a nonprofit that would affect the food system that we affect every day through our business.
That's
right?
amazing.
And he really wanted a way to give back to that environment and to the people that it affects. So we founded that in 2010. We had a couple acres at Woodlawn Estate down
That's right.
Route 1, and that's where the farm is located. And so
Which is
really
super
cool,
cool in
historic.
itself, right?
So, yeah, so it's actually it is the granddaughter of George Washington's house is on that property, which is called Woodlawn. And then the Pope Leahy house, which is Frank Lloyd Wright designed house for Lauren Pope, that's on that property as well. That's absolutely gorgeous.
Amazing, I'm sure.
And so the National Historic Trust, National Trust for Historic Preservation, maintains the site, and so it's through a partnership with them that we were able to operate Arcadia on that property. It's
awesome.
a landmark, partnership that they really don't do otherwise.
Yeah.
So we are able to farm that right now and produce enough food to fuel our mobile market, which is one of our biggest campaigns.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
I love
so
the mobile market.
Mobile market, we have 14 stops in the DMV
Right
every
on.
week from May to November. And we're going to go into neighborhoods that are underserved, that don't have access to fresh food. We were told that people didn't want this food. And lo and behold, we started holding these markets and there's lines around the block every day.
That's awesome.
We accept all forms of assistance,
Right.
and through some subsidized programs called bonus bucks, we're able to actually double the amounts for SNAP and WIC
That's awesome.
recipients, so that they, it's not the cheapest food, but it's direct, but we're able to double their value.
But that's
when they
great.
come there. So
That makes a
and that's
big
through a lot of
difference.
strategic partnerships, which is amazing. So yeah, we're at 14 stops now. Arcadia is doing so much cool stuff. Veteran farmer program is something we started. So Pam Hess is our executive director. Pam was a journalist before she got into Arcadia, and she was actually a national security correspondent and was in Iraq and Afghanistan, reporting on those wars and events. And so she felt really strongly about veterans and how we were taking care of them when they came back. The fact is that the average age of a farmer in the U.S. right now is 58.
Holy crap!
It's not good, man, for our food, right? So she had the great idea to say, what if we taught our veterans who are entrepreneurial spirits how to farm when they got back, that were interested in it, that know how to deal with different crises or obstacles, how to maintain a program, right? What if we taught them how to farm, got them assistance finding affordable land, and began to kind of bolster that farmer population?
So helping them get land as well.
Absolutely.
That's so awesome.
Through different grants. Get them with different other nonprofits that we partner with around the country.
More assistance.
To find, exactly.
That is so awesome.
So
man.
there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Now, Snallygaster, to bring it all back, we started to basically as a fundraiser for Arcadia. So we are the single largest revenue source for Arcadia every year is this event. So last year it was over $90,000 we were able to raise for the organization. So I mean, I couldn't think of a better reason to do this, to spend all these months of planning and sleepless nights and all that kind of stuff.
But it's pretty great, man.
It's pretty great. It's amazing work, and it's from so many people that pitch in. You guys coming out every year. You guys have been out there since year one.
Yeah, man.
We brought the party and had to cut the power at the end to make sure people went home.
Stop dancing.
Stop having fun.
Exactly.
So yeah. Pretty cool.
Right on. Well, I'm excited to talk, about that and talk just to let people know, because I think I'm not sure how many people really know that, and that was one thing that I've always been impressed with NRG is the fact that you guys have been aware of these things and working towards solving these problems on your own volition, and not because of bad press or not because that's what you're supposed to do. But
in fact, we haven't been good enough at telling people that we do this.
Exactly. You're super humble about it,
Well, because,
which is good. I mean, it's good to be humble, but I think it's also important to let people know that, not only is Snallygaster a stupid, dope beer fest. If you're in a beer, this is your fucking mecca. Sure. I mean, straight up.
I mean, you know how we roll. We don't set out to do something okay. Right. We want to set out to do something really, really well.
Everything is top
one of the best. You know what I mean? So, like Greg said, 2012, we rolled out 150 beers. We cobbled together a bunch of jockey boxes. I called a tent company. You know what I mean? Called you. I was like, hey, can you throw some music on?
Let's do this. We had our generator cranking.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got better at it.
Phenomenal, I would say. Battling stupid weather
every year.
I'm well, stop putting gray clouds on your promo.
I know. Well, it changed that time.
Manifest
we did it.
destiny.
Right. We changed that last year, thankfully. But that year, Chick played.
Yeah.
You remember that too? It was 2013.
It's horrible weather.
It was 2015.
15, yeah.
And it was awful weather. And then homie got on the stage and climbed the stacks. Do you remember this?
No.
This is the most amazing thing that ever happened at Snallygaster.
Oh, Jesus.
So it was raining all day, pissing rain from 5 a.m. we got there. It was awful. It was the first year I got a big stage. I was like, we're gonna die. And literally it was I was 4 o'clock, Chick's going on. I paid so much money for them to come to this festival.
Right.
You have no idea. But all these people came out, right? So all these people are drinking in the rain.
Right.
Ponchos, just rolling, right? And so Chick plays, comes on and does the test and and he goes, hey, what's going on, Snallygaster? And he climbs up on the stacks and he's like, y'all ready? And like, yeah. And he goes, where? And the sun goes, whoosh, and it was whoa! He jumps off the stacks and starts rolling. It was awesome.
That's great.
So yeah, it was the best Snallygaster moment ever.
That's a great thing about Snallygaster is it's a beer fest and it's a fundraiser for a nonprofit. But it's so much more than that. It's so much fun, and there's so many interactions.
Rare Essence coming back. We got DC Go-Go for the second time in 3 years.
Yeah.
Pie Tasters, which is music of the youth. My youth.
Right.
I don't want to tell you how long ago I listened to Pie Tasters.
In the past.
But Spirit Animal on the main stage too, and then you guys bring in all the new local talent,
right.
the new
Aztec
heads coming
Sun,
down, which is awesome.
Cat Janice, Adam
I can't wait to see Aztec Sun because I've been listening to them on SoundCloud, but I haven't seen them live.
They're
yet,
super good. Great band, a lot of fun to watch. You know what I mean? They're gonna gonna bring it for sure.
For sure. That's
It's
awesome.
it's exciting time. So where I'm gonna make sure that we post in the links to this thing, like
Sure.
the locations where Arcadia drops off.
Yeah.
And then also some links on like where people can donate or learn more.
Absolutely, yeah, man.
Because we don't have to wait until Snallygaster to get behind Arcadia,
Yeah.
right? Like you can do that sooner.
I was just looking online, actually. There's something like $50 to Arcadia funds 10 markets worth of doubling the
That's incredible.
the benefits for people. So you know what I mean? Like a little bit goes a long way.
Well, I really appreciate that because, I've watched you guys really grow over the years. I mean, when I met you guys, you had like 8 locations.
Yeah.
So you were already like humping along.
sure.
But now you've like doubled that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we're at
in
20 right now. Yeah.
Jesus, Mary and
Yeah.
Joseph. I was
Yeah.
joking with Michael because I was all stressed out about my rent. And I was like, what's your monthly rent? And he was like, oh, God, I never thought about that. And he started doing the math, and I was like, stop right now.
Hopefully
like, you're
he told
stressing
you.
me out.
Hopefully he
man.
told you that it never changes. That stress that you feel about. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, no, it made me feel kind of dumb because I'm like, my rent is nothing compared to the 20 locations.
We're all trying to pay the rent though. You know what I
Holy
mean?
shit.
Like
Well, yeah,
it's, you know what I mean?
it's all relative.
It's just a matter of scale. That's all. So.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Yeah,
Ain't that the
that's
truth? But
all.
you guys have always done such quality stuff.
It's important to us to maintain a part of the community and make sure that we're giving back 100%.
Yeah.
Like any business that we're in, we found our businesses based on wanting to be an anchor for our community, a gathering space. I mean, when we opened here at Churchkey in 2009, there wasn't too many places on the block. It
No.
had just turned the corner out of what the
Right.
previous history was of this neighborhood.
For sure.
I
I remember.
a lot of street commerce,
Right,
going
right.
on, and so yeah, there was only 3 other like businesses
Yeah,
operating
14th
then.
Street was not
I mean,
the same.
Cork Wine Bar was the first. They
Right.
just closed their original location,
shit.
and they're moving into the market, which is across the street.
What market?
They have Cork Market, which is right across the street from Cork Wine Bar,
I
but they
didn't
had to
realize
close
that.
Cork Wine Bar because they're at the 10-year lease.
And it just,
I mean, we're not for nothing. We're looking at our 10-year lease.
that's crazy.
Next year,
And it's probably ridiculous.
and at 10 years, the landlord can take you to market value. So,
Oh,
it
Christ.
changes. Talk about rent. It changes.
Oh man,
So-
people don't know how hard it is to run businesses in this
it's
town,
crazy.
man. But
Yeah,
it's
for
worth
sure.
it's worth every bit of effort though because
Absolutely, man.
all the interactions we get to have.
100%, dude.
And I know you don't like hearing this stuff, but I really hats off to you, man. You're the hardest working guy I know.
I see you hustling out there.
I mean, yeah, but it ain't nothing. It's so funny because you posted something the other week, and I was like, "You never stop working," and you were like, "Neither do you." And I was like, "I
Exactly.
knew he was gonna say that." But like for real
That's how we
though,
get
like
there.
I don't know. I just feel like you're involved in so many different restaurants, so many different operations, and you always have a smile on your face, even if you're stressed and tired. You
Thanks
still
to the beer, right?
well,
Cheers.
whatever it is, but we appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate being a part of Snallygaster every year, in any capacity whatsoever. So,
Well, we appreciate having you. It's always good bringing the youth to the
Hey, man.
to the party here.
hey man, the DJs I got lined, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be
I can't
great.
wait.
I'm excited for this
can't wait.
weekend. We'll be
I'm
there.
very excited.
We'll be there squatted up in all our gear,
I heard that.
ready to drink some beer and have a good time.
For
so.
sure.
Awesome. Well, Eric, I think
Cool.
we can wrap this up.
Awesome, man.
We've taken enough of your time. Thank you so much
Cheers.
for everything.
All right.
Cheers. We'll see
Boys,
you on the
cheers.
flip side.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.